Finally, it's about time Batman killed the Joker. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Horror Review Sunday. Today we are going over American Psycho, starring Christian Bale, Willem Dafoe, Jared Leto, and Reese Witherspoon, directed by Mary Heron. This came out in 2000 and is about a New Yorker businessman named Patrick Bateman who's obsessed with himself, success, works out, just wants to be successful in life and pretty forever. But he also, on the side, has an obsession with killing people. From the cinematographer of Cube 2. Fuck that movie. Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to play Norman, or he's basically like Norman Bates. He's Psycho. He's American Psycho. I find it funny that a British guy, Christian Bale, is playing an American. Isn't that cultural appropriation? But Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to be the main guy, but he turned it down for The Beach. And even after he turned it down, the studios kept trying to get this guy, that guy, anybody but Christian Bale, because he's not famous enough, they said. And look where he is now. He's fucking Batman. Quick shout out before I go any further to a guy who suggested I do this video a few months back, or a couple months ago. But Ad Revenue is my city. I think that's the subscriber of mine who wanted me to review this movie. This is for you, buddy. Watch. He's not even gonna watch this review. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Still doing it. So I just got done watching it, and I'm gonna watch In the Mouth of Madness after this for the first time ever. I've seen this movie before. I saw it a long time ago. So this was like my first watch. Even though I've seen it before, it's been so long, it was like fresh eyes. You know, it's just, I didn't see anything coming except for one scene alone, and that's the chainsaw scene. You know what it is. That's the only thing I remembered about it. So I was going in blind, and I gotta say, overall, I had a good time. There's hardly any criticisms I have for this movie. The only con I can give it is, it's a slasher movie. I want to see some slashings, and all the slashings in this movie are off camera or bullet holes to the face, and that's not really interesting. That's not gory. The MPAA probably hacked this movie to shit. They had to cut like 18 seconds of sex out of it, but I'm sure there was some blood that was cut out too, because off camera kill here, off camera kill there. I was like, really? I want to see what's the slasher fan in me wants to see the gore. I want to see these people getting hacked. But the positives for this movie is the character of Bateman. I really like a horror movie that focuses on the antagonist throughout, like a Silent Night, Deadly Night, or even like The Shining, where they slowly get psycho. But this guy's psycho from the beginning, and I like that we get to follow his character, and I like the performance by Christian Bale. I really like the cast in this movie. You got Jared Leto, you got Willem Dafoe, Reese Witherspoon. She doesn't do much in here, but I like Willem Dafoe and Christian Bale in here. They have really good back and forth, and their screen time together. It's always fun when they're like having a conversation at dinner or in the office. It gets kind of tense because, he's nervous as hell. He's wondering if Willem Dafoe's character is onto him. I like those back and forths between them. I found that those scenes fun and interesting. I like that there's many layers to the film. It's not just a typical paint-by-number slasher. It does something different. This is very unique. It also has something to say. There's some messages in this film. You just gotta look for them. Boobs and sex, there's plenty. Got a threesome in here. You don't get that too often in slashers. Lots of boobs. I like the twist ending. There's a neat little twist at the end. I won't say it right now, but it makes for a fun rewatch, and it's for a fun debate. It creates debate, and I like a film that can do that. Now, the hottest chick in this movie, there's a couple of them, but we'll just go with Reese Witherspoon. I find her attractive. Unfortunately, she's not in this movie that much. And the clap reward for best scene goes to when Bateman has officially lost it at the ATM machine, and he starts shooting people. Love that sequence. Final thoughts. I think this is a fun, original slasher. It's based off of a novel, but I like this I like this character of Bateman. He's really fleshed out by the end. You almost kind of sympathize with him because he can't really control his urges. So that's I kind of sympathetic towards him. He's a dick. Don't get me wrong, he's a dick. But a little part of me kind of sympathizes if he can't control it, you know? But I like the character, the acting's good. There's some really good dark comedy in here. It's a dark comedy, so don't take it serious. It's definitely got some comedic moments within, and I had a good time with that. I'm glad they didn't take it so serious. And there's, like I said, plenty of boobs, sex. There's some blood. It's a good slasher. So when it comes to American Psycho, this is almost a completely flawless film, besides the lack of gore. So go out and buy it. Time for the spoiler discussion. So, we meet our character, Norman Bates. I keep calling him Norman Bates. Patrick Bateman. See, they're so close. It's like Patrick Bate. You got Bate in there. So I'm like, Norman Bates. No, it's Patrick Bateman. We'll call him Pat. So, I just like that he's at the bar. And he just straight up says to the girl behind the counter, like, you know, you're an ugly fucking bitch. And I would like to stab you and cover me in your blood. And she doesn't hear it. So, he didn't say it. Or she just didn't hear it because of the music. I don't know. But then he goes over his routine. There's a lot of narration in the film, which sometimes is a bad thing in the movie. I don't really care for it, but it's okay here. I don't mind it. But he's just describing his routine. He's working out a lot. He cares about his physique. He's a neat freak. He has OCD. He keeps everything clean. Everything's a contest. He's got to have the fanciest suit, the best apartment, the best car, the best everything, even the best business card. And I love that scene where they're like showing their business cards to each other, and they're like, look what mine has. It's italic, or you know, it's written in italic, bold, Arial font. Like, it's such a big deal. Like, mine's in eggshell paint or whatever. It's so stupid. Yeah, they're just comparing business cards, kind of instead of like comparing dick sizes. Or maybe like metaphorically, that's what they're doing. They're like comparing dick sizes, but just with business cards. Then he's at the cleaners, and you got the stereotypical Asian people that are the cleaner owners, and he's just like yelling at them. Just his performance in there, just the way he gets all zany, like over the top, just like screaming at them. Love Christian Bale in this movie. He's so hilarious, and he just says horrible things to women, especially. It's like hashtag me too. He's got this secretary, and he's telling her like, you need to dress better, you know, put on some high heels tomorrow. He's like telling her how to dress, and she just takes it like, oh, okay boss, like I'll wear whatever you want. It's like hashtag me too. I love when he calls like the Dorsey restaurant, and he's like, could I make a reservation for like 8 o'clock? And instead of being told no, we're booked, the guy just laughs his ass off until he hangs up. And then like later on, he calls him, and he's like, can I make a reservation? The guy says, no, we're booked. And he's like, that's perfect. And he's like, no, I said we're booked. He's like, great, I'll see you then. Boom.
Yeah, can you take 2 tonight at, well, let's say 9 o'clock?
We're totally booked.
Really? That's great.
No, I said we are totally booked.
2 at 9? Perfect. See you then.
But after the whole business card thing, I guess he's very pissed off that his business card wasn't the best, so he goes out in the alley and he kills a homeless guy. But I love his like interaction with the homeless guy, like, why don't you just get a job? Get a fucking job, you smell. And just stabs him, curb stomps the dog, like he's stomping the dog to death. But maybe none of this happened, because that's the twist at the end, is that none of this really ever happened, or at least most of it never happened. So, spoiler, there's a twist. They keep calling him tan throughout the film, and we see him tanning because he cares about how he looks, but tanning is not good for your skin. Wouldn't he know that? And 2, he doesn't look tan. He just looks normal. He my skin tone, that's it. So he gets called tan twice in the movie. It's like, he looks normal to me. But then he takes Jared Leto's character back to his apartment. He starts talking about like Huey Lewis and the Newsboys. Puts on a raincoat. You know, hey Paul! And it just stabs him right in the fucking face off camera. All his blood's just everywhere. And I love that this character, that Bateman, he just knows so much about 80s rock and music. And he just keeps talking about, you know, Huey Lewis, Whitney Houston, and Phil Collins. He just gives you all this trivia before he kills you. That's his routine. He just gives you music trivia, and then he kills you. I thought that was very interesting for a killer. We get a Terminator 2 reference in here. He makes a fake answering machine, like voicemail for Paul's character, and he goes, hasta la vista, baby. And then Dafoe comes into the movie. He's the detective, the PI, trying to figure out what happened to Paul Allen. And I like his conversation with Christian Bale's character. I like their back and forth. and he's very nervous, and I just like their acting. They're very good. And then he's like watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre while doing like a bunch of crunches. So maybe the fact that he loves horror movies so much is what made him fucked up. Maybe that's a message within the film that people watching horror movies sometimes get influenced in a bad way. Not me, obviously. But this guy, he knows a lot about killers, too. He's watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He brings up Ed Gein, talks about him. He even, gives a quote from him. Talks about Ted Bundy, gives a quote from him. He knows all these murderers. So he obviously has a fascination with murderers. Then he picks up this cougar hooker. She's middle-aged. Every girl he picks up in this movie, they're not the typical, 18 to 25-year-old prostitute, anything like that. They're always 35 and older. They're definitely older than your usual movie hooker that you would see. The very attractive one. No, these are people that probably have kids. So he's not too picky when it comes to women. Actually, he kind of is on the phone. He's like, I want a blonde. I can't stress that enough. She needs to be blonde. And then when she comes, she's a dirty blonde. He's like, oh, I guess dirty blonde's good enough, whatever. I like when he goes to try to strangle his friend because he had a better business card. He gets a newer one. He's like, look at this one. He goes to the bathroom stall to strangle his ass, but he's doing it so slowly, and then the guy turns around, who's engaged, by the way, to a woman that he's fucking. And he's like, I knew it, you're gay too. I'm into you also. And then disgust Bates so much that he just will leave. I called him Bates again, but whatever. Bateman, he leaves in disgust, goes to get a hooker. He washes his glove. It's almost because he touched his glove, so it's he's so disgusted by the fact that a homosexual touched him that he had to go wash the gay germs off of his glove. Just little subtle things like that. Then they're at a club, and there's coke stalls. So there's cocaine stalls. You go in the stall and you start snorting shit. This is the 80s, man. And I didn't realize it was the 80s until the end, so that was the twist, right? Because it's not like the movie opened, it was 1987. It was here's the movie. It didn't say what year it was. So this whole time I was thinking it's 2000, but they're doing cocaine, the clubs, the way they're driving 80s limousines and whatnot. At the very end, you see Reagan on the TV, and it's oh shit, it's the 80s, and they're talking about the Iran-Contra mess. And that was a twist also. So why this movie had to take place in the 80s, I guess that's one of the messages within the film. It's a statement on the 80s, I guess. They talk about how, Reagan's, he seems nice, but inside he's evil. Just like Patrick Bateman, he's got that nice, charming face, like Ted Bundy. He supposedly was, so attractive, picking up college girls, but he was psycho. Patrick Bateman is the same case. Attractive on the outside, evil on the inside. You don't know who to trust. I love when he's having sex, this threesome. He just keeps giving demands in between. He's giving trivia, and he's like, hey, I said eat it.
Especially songs like In the Air Tonight and Against All Odds. Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
And apparently he had such rough sex with him that the girl needs surgery afterwards. When he goes to pick her up again, and she's like, I'm not going home with you because I need surgery and I'm thinking about getting a lawyer. And he just writes her a check, convinces her to go have sex with him again. But the first time when they left, they have scratch marks on their back. They have nosebleeds. He beat the shit out of them. But he brings her back, and he has a new chick this time to join them, a redhead, who I guess he knew from a while back. And they're having sex. He convinces her to go lesbo this time. She's like, I'm not a lesbian. But then she starts making out with the cougar hooker. And then she gets killed underneath the sheets. The chick's running away. He gets the chainsaw. He's all bloody, running around naked with a chainsaw. It's crazy to see Batman running around naked with a chainsaw. Chases the hooker. She's going down the stairs. And he just drops the chainsaw, and it falls all the way down and somehow manages to impale her on her side, through the left side of her stomach. Was she walking sideways? How the fuck did that happen? See, that's the clue right there that this is all made up bullshit. There's no way. So it's not like he dropped a machete on her. He dropped a fucking chainsaw that only revs when you're pushing a button. I don't know any chainsaw that's just constantly circulating without any button being pressed. So how he dropped a chainsaw that sawed through her gut like that at that angle makes no fucking sense. Yeah, I love he has a head in his fridge, his Mrs. Voorhees head, and then he has a whole tool closet in his kitchen. He's got his weapons everywhere. He invites his secretary over. He has like a nail gun to the back of her head, but she gets saved by the phone call. And it's this scene right here that kind of makes you sympathize with him because he's fighting it. Like, this is the only scene where it's like, no, he doesn't want to do it, but he just has this uncontrollable urge. Like, he's about to kill her, then the phone call distracts him, and then he's finally able to kind of snap out of it for a little bit, and he just tells her to leave. Like, go or I might hurt you. So that's the only scene that really shows that he's trying to fight this weird urge that he has. Then he goes and dumps Reese Witherspoon's, and with her spoons. It's a weird last name. And she doesn't take him serious at first. Nobody takes him serious at all in this movie. And then she starts making a scene. He leaves like, you're not important to me. And then he goes to the ATM machine. It says, feed me a stray cat. So he gets this cat and he's like trying to feed it to the ATM machine. Old lady walks up, bam, shoots her, runs away. There's a cop. Bam! Shoots the cop, shoots the car, and the car just blows up, and he's like looking at his gun, like, what the fuck? How did that happen? And then he's like so like confused, doesn't know what the hell's going on. He just runs into a building that he thinks is his office, but it's the wrong place, so he shoots the guy behind the desk, like, hey, you forgot to sign in, and poof, goes through the rotating door to go outside, comes back and shoots the janitor real quick, then leaves. That was hilarious. And then goes to his actual office, makes a phone call to his lawyer. He's like, I killed 20, maybe 40 people. I ate their brains, and I did this and that. It was just hilarious. Like, the performance there, too, from Christian Bale was awesome. And then the next day, he's not arrested. So he just killed supposedly 4 cops. The whole town would be looking for him. They would be all over the streets, security cameras and all. They would find his ass, all right? Unless there wasn't security cameras in 87. Yeah, there was, trust me. But he just continues the day, the next day, like nothing happened. And then he goes up to his lawyer. He's like, yeah, you got that message? And he's like, yeah, that was funny. Mark, he calls him like the wrong name. He's like, no, it's me, Patrick, and I really did kill Alan, or Paul Allen. And he's like, that's not possible. I was just with Paul in London a couple days ago. So I guess this implies that Paul Allen was really alive. He never killed him. He never really killed anybody, or maybe he did, but not Paul Allen. And I guess maybe he overheard the fact that he was going to London at some point, and he kind of used that information for his little fairy tale. Because he thinks that he killed Paul Allen and sent his body to London. That's a weird place to send a corpse. And so yeah, he ate their brains. We never got to see that. That would have been cool. And then, yeah, we also see, like, Paul's apartment, and it's completely empty, so he's never lived there in recent days, definitely, not recently. It's completely empty, and that's where he thought he was storing all his bodies that he's been killing since the beginning of the movie, so, yeah. And then his secretary, Jean, she has, like, his daily planner, and it has, like, all the grisly murders that he has supposedly been doing written all over it, and I think there's one of him, like, shooting himself in the face or something. But yeah, so none of that ever happened. He's just been drawing everything that he's wanted to do in his little daily planner. Like, I want to kill these people, not, like this and that. And he has, like, all these, like, words written on it. Like, how you like me now, bitch? So he just, in his head, thinks he's this person, wants to be that person, I guess. Maybe it's about control and power. Like, in my head, I can get prostitutes and women to do things that they wouldn't normally do. Like, I don't know. It's like, he can get chicks in his head, and he, like, anything he was saying in this movie that was just, like, rude to women, was he ever actually saying? Like, I guess he's just in a very weird world where he can just say anything, and he thinks he's so cool. He just wants to fit in, he said, right? Yeah, I guess this whole movie is just his fantasy. Like, this is the version of him that he wants to be, but also doesn't want to be, like, the killer side. I don't know. Because the lawyer says, oh, Patrick Bateman, that guy's a fucking dork. But the Bateman we've seen this entire movie is nothing like that at all. He's got a great place, he's got a great wife, he's very confident, he's charming as fuck. Like, the things he says to women, like, he has no problem. He's not a dork. And then we find out that it's the 1980s. You see Reagan on the TV and the Iran-Contra thing and blah, blah, blah. It's the 80s, and yeah, he's hanging out with his friends, and he starts laughing it off, pretending like everything's normal. He's confused as fuck, because he still, like, kind of believes that he did kill everybody, and it's really messing with his head. And then he says, like, the inside doesn't matter. And then Something like that, yeah, like, it never happened, or nothing matters, or like, this confession doesn't matter, that's what he says, and then it's over.
There is no catharsis. My punishment continues to elude me, and I gain no deeper knowledge of myself. No new knowledge can be extracted from my telling. This confession has meant nothing.
The Mr. Hat Award for Best Kill will go to Paul. Hey, Paul! We don't get to see the kill, but it's still a funny lead-up, and I like the scene. And the Mr. Twig Award for Worst Kill will go to the redhead who gets killed under the sheets. Pretty boring. But yeah, that's the end of American Psycho. It was pretty fun to watch. I enjoyed myself. It had some good dark humor to it. Some cool, rememberable scenes. I will remember this one. And it's a movie that you can rewatch, and it's got great performances, and I enjoyed it. So, what did you think about American Psycho? Do you like this movie? Is it your favorite movie of the 2000s? Post your thoughts on this film in the comments below. Like and share with all your friends, and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.